Shalom. I want to give all the praise, honor, and glory to YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, BAHASHAM, QADASH. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who taught me this truth, and double salutations to all you Akim out there laboring, the house of David, the elect, that's pushing this word with all truth, righteousness, and sincerity. Shalom to you brothers, and shalom to the elect. I'm back with another quick lesson through the Holy Spirit, the QADASH. And we see more violence rising upon the earth in these last days. Okay, this article here, which we're going to circle back to, this is from telegraph.co.uk. It says, world most violent it has been in decades. At least 50 different countries have been hit by armed conflict in the past year, researchers find. All right, so this is the spirit. Okay, violence is rising in the land. This is the book of Ezekiel chapter 7 and verse 10. It says, behold the day, behold it is come, the morning is gone forth, the rod has blossomed, pride have budded. Verse 11, the point, violence is risen up into a rod of wickedness. None of them shall remain, nor of their multitude, nor of any of theirs, neither shall there be dwelling for them.
So the summer of love is back, and we haven't even made it to Memorial Day. In the last few months, a healthcare exec was assassinated outside his hotel. Teslas started getting firebombed, IVF clinics torched. Oh, and they even tried to burn down Governor Shapiro's house in Pennsylvania. What do they all have in common? They're all leftists.
You see, you got uproars, division, and violence everywhere.
And they're not mostly peaceful. Overnight, a young couple in Washington was executed in cold blood. Two Israeli diplomats who were in love were gunned down, leaving a Jewish museum. The assassin fired several times. After the victims fell to the ground, videos showed the gunman leaning in and firing several more times. As one of them crawled away, the shooter fired again, reloaded, and then shot even more rounds into her body. The suspect was arrested on the scene and went berserk.
Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine!
Witnesses say before this guy was arrested, security accidentally let him into the museum, thinking he was a victim. And people inside had no idea they were face to face with a killer.
My thought was, this poor man experienced a shooting. Do you need water? I looked the killer in the eyes and said, can I get you water? He said, yes, that would be great. And I walked to get it to him, and I literally handed it off. Unbeknownst to me, moments ago, this man had execution style killed two people, not one shot. We're talking multiple.
Yeah, this doesn't even sound believable.
Gunshots, and I looked evil right in the eye, and there he was. And seconds after I handed him the water, he brandishes the keffiyeh, yells "Free Palestine," and then he's apprehended, and that's how it all unfolded.
So who was this guy? Elias Rodriguez from Chicago. He's 31 and a former member of the Socialism Liberation Party. He's a BLMer and a Biden donor. Reports say on social media, Rodriguez praised Luigi Mangione, the United Healthcare assassin. Neighbors thought something was up.
On the outside of his door, there's a Hello Kitty sign. I mean, he seemed like a normal, friendly guy. There's a picture in his window. Have you seen it? It's a picture of the Palestinian child who was stabbed to death. And that gave me the impression that they were very, very sensitive people, especially about the issue of Palestine.
Just hours ago, tactical teams raided the assassin's apartment. And as we speak, police are combing through a manifesto he published right before the bloodshed. It's reportedly filled with pro-Hamas propaganda. Reports say this assassin posted "Death to America" and "Death to Israel."
You see? Be circumspect. Be on point. Sirach 5 and 15, Ecclesiasticus chapter 5, verse 15. Be not ignorant of anything in a great matter or small, okay? Be not ignorant Understand what's going on, right? Those are the key buzzwords.
Filled with pro-Hamas propaganda. Reports say this assassin posted death to America and death to Israel.
See? Psalms 38, verse 12, it says, they also that seek after my life lay snares for me. These are all part of the snares, traps. And they that seek my hurt speak mischievous things and imagine deceits all day long. And that's the mindset of Esau. Okay? Remember, again, they're getting ready to push more of this type of news. All right? This came out from the Times of Israel. It says, after deadly shooting, U.S. Jewish security leaders urge vigilance amid threat copycats. So there's going to be more so-called copycats, they're saying, that's going to attack the you-know-whos. So understand the time. Okay? The climax of things. All right? Psalm 64, verse 5, it says, they encourage themselves in the evil matter. They commune of laying snares privily. They say, who shall see them? See that? So this is, again, this is part of the snares, the traps he's coming with, man. All right? You got to be on point. Ephesians 5 and 15, see then that you walk circumspectly, not as fools, but as wise, redeeming the time because the days are evil. Okay? Wherefore be you not unwise, but understanding what the will of the Lord is. All right? So this is clear. All right?
He also says, I voted for Hamas. Here's Pam Bondi.
We'll be doing everything in our power to keep all citizens safe, especially tonight our Jewish community. We will follow the facts, we will follow the law, and this defendant, if charged, will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law.
Now, the New York Times says the FBI is still seeking a motive. Motive? I think everybody knows what the motive is. CNN says it's Trump's fault.
So this pass.
One of my main concerns in the current administration is the fact that so many resources are being diverted to immigration enforcement. And that is a priority of this administration, and that's their prerogative. But at the same time, if they are drawing down resources from counterterrorism.
Liberals are opening the borders and shooting Jews, and CNN's blaming Trump for dropping the ball. CNN called Trump Hitler, but in this case, they don't want to.
So again, as we've been talking about, all right, the villain is now playing the victim. All right, so you see, hey, anything that's said against the 48ers, all right, we're in that time. All right, this is why, again, the legislation, the laws, everything that surrounds in the protection of these people, all right, the covering, okay, this is what they're coming with, man. Clear as day again.
Rush to conclusions.
What I saw in his eyes, I mean, I went to Columbia for grad school, and I saw the same thing in his eyes as I saw in the eyes of all the protesters at Columbia. Nothing different between him and them.
But they did not create this horrific shooting. They did not, you know, they didn't shoot.
They gave permission, and they've called for this. They have called for intifada revolution, which is the same thing he yelled last night.
Do you worry that there will be a conflation, though, of the two?
A conflation? I mean, they are calling for intifada. At Columbia University, they call for intifada constantly.
Liberals are chanting, kill the Jews, and then someone does. And CNN says one thing has nothing to do with the other. Some liberal darlings in the media are giving the shooter kudos, saying the victim had it coming.
Yeah, see, here we go. All right, it's all about the J's. 2 Corinthians 2 and 11 says, lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. Again, all right, we all know what time it is, right?
Guy was a monster. He was a monster. He was a monster representing a foreign adversarial government currently conducting a Holocaust and they want us to feel sorry for him. Even if I hadn't looked at his profile, I would have said that representatives of a genocidal country should not feel safe in America, because we're supposed to stand in opposition to that. And now, having seen it, good riddance. This guy was a monster.
This morning, Omar wouldn't even condemn the murder.
Congresswoman Omar, can I get your
home?
reaction to the shooting that happened in D.C. last night?
I'm gonna go for now.
This is the same squad that called us dangerous. Remember, Jazzy Crockett said Republicans were the terrorists.
Y'all got the white supremacists galore, okay? Like all of them. You got the Proud Boys, you got the neo-Nazis. You have people that literally should be classified as domestic terrorists, because a lot of times that is what they are doing. They're engaging in domestic terrorism. And guess what? They all align with your side inherently in like who you are. Right. Y'all are violent. Like right. Y'all, and most of your violence has to do with people that's got a little bit of melanin.
The right isn't burning.
See that? Again, the division in violence. America's all over the place, man. All right? Isaiah 19. Let's get that real quick. Okay? Prophecy is being unloaded right now. Right? Isaiah 19:2, it says, "And I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians, and they shall fight everyone against his brother, and everyone against his Slaki, and everyone against his neighbor, city against city, and kingdom against kingdom." All right? It's all happening.
Burning cars and executing people in the street. It's not Republicans getting tossed out of hearings, kicking and screaming for Hamas.
God, that I cannot live in peace. I will not be silent while there's a genocide going on. Hundreds are dying every day. Hundreds. I won't be silent. You can't do this genocide. The world is watching. Act now. Everybody must act now. Act before it's too late. They're wiping out the Palestine people. Gaza must live. Free Palestine. Free Gaza. We will never be silent.
Always close.
Leftists are barricading themselves inside of college campuses and lighting their diplomas on fire.
Free all the students now. Free all the students now. Burn all the diplomas now.
College radicals burn the degrees, man. All right? It's all types of shit going on. Right? So again, just going back to that scripture, Ephesians 5:15-16, it says, "See then that you walk circumspectly, not as fools, but as wise, redeeming the time, because the days are evil." Okay? A lot of shit is being set up. Okay? The Esau is using these things to justify his cause of coming down. All right? So again, violence is continuing to grow in the land. All right?
Our diplomas now. We want justice to say how. We want justice to say how. Hands off our students now.
Democrats are losing their party. And what are they doing? They're ignoring it or celebrating it. The president of South Africa went to the White House yesterday and got grilled about white genocide. Democrats in the media thought, it was only a couple of white farmers massacred. It's not officially genocide until it's like, what, 10,000? Is that how they feel about the Jews? Reporters who said Biden's brain fog was a hoax are now saying white genocide is.
The president showed a video that he said showed more than 1,000 burial sites of white South Africans that he said were murdered. We know that that was not true. And
What's
to show
not
that
true, Yamiche?
It's not true that the video was showing a burial site. It is unsubstantiated that that's the case.
The video showed images of crosses in South Africa about white farmers who have been killed and politically persecuted because of the color of their skin.
The president
And those
claimed
crosses
that
are
it was showing
representing
a
their
burial.
lives.
Yep,
Are you
my question.
disputing that there's no...
Disputing the fact that the video showed what the president claimed it showed, because it did not show that. But even more, what I'm asking you is who at the
No,
White
it did
House...
show that. It
who
showed
at the
white crosses representing people who have perished because of racial
House
persecution.
Yeah, we talked about this yesterday, man. Again, the fucking villain playing the victim. All right, and he was caught in a lie. All right. Let me just add on to that real quick, because I was reading this yesterday. It says South Africa's president is praised for staying calm during Trump's Oval Office ambush. All right, so Trump made the claim that there were so-called, white South Africans, Edomite South Africans that were being genocided, right? And that information was fact-checked and debunked, as we talked about. It says debunking disinformation. And this is what Eve was telling the Edomite woman there on the panel, all right, that was a false story. It says, despite the South Africans delegation's attempts to explain the facts to the U.S. leader, Trump again and again repeated a right-wing conspiracy theory that there is systematic persecution in quote genocide of white South Africans, using disinformation to support his allegations. See, he misinterpreted a video showing a protest where people placed in white crosses in a field to commemorate a farmer and his wife who were murdered in a 2020 home robbery as a quote burial site. South African news site News 24 said there are no bodies at the site and the number of crosses do not relate to the number of killings. So again, these fucking devils is caught lying. Okay? Trying to play that victim. Got caught. Let me get a scripture on that. All right? This is Romans 3:13. All right? Because that's who he is. Romans 3:13. Their throat is an open sepulcher, all right? A grave. It says with their tongues, they have used deceit. You see? It was a lie. It was nothing but Western propaganda. It was lies from the devil themselves, man. It says with their tongues they have used deceit. The poison of asps is under their lips. See? Psalms 10:7. All right? This is the book of Psalm 10:7. Just to add on to that point. Psalms 10:7 says his mouth is full of cursing and deceit and fraud. Okay? Esau, he's a liar, man. His mouth is full of cursing and deceit and fraud. Under his tongue is mischief and vanity. Okay? Again, these devils was caught in a bold-faced lie. Right?
The Daily Show actually found white genocide funny.
President Trump's meeting with the president of South Africa today. And because it's Donald Trump, things got weird.
Death, 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 horrible death, death, I don't know.
What a host. Death, death. Hey, do you want a Diet Coke? Yeah.
Yeah, it was all bullshit, man. All right? It was brought out. Every day, man. As I say, these devils are being exposed, man. Can't get around it.
This is the state of the Democrat Party. They have more assassins than ideas. They shot Steve Scalise, got a block away from murdering Kavanaugh, shot the president. Now they're blowing up homes, IVF clinics, and Teslas. They're executing CEOs and Jews and having margaritas with MS-13. Their donors finance it. They nurture it at universities, excuse it in the press, and downplay it after the fact. Their tactics are creating collateral damage in the Mideast. You think Israel's going to make peace after this? You think it's easier to get Iran to sign a nuke deal after this? Harvard's already lost billions, and now Kristi Noem's banned the school from enrolling foreign students. Left-wing violence is killing the peace process and killing the Democrat Party.
There you go. So you so-called leftists, all right? You progressives, as they call you, all right, which is really you Jakes, all right? And you bugged out Edomites, man. All right? It's a beautiful setup, man. All right? And that's why, let me go back to that article, because everything that he was making mention of is the things that we're going to see play out here, all right? Dealing with the violence rising in the land, all right? I want to just make that point in the article that I brought out a few times, all right? The conditions are ripe. These are the conditions ripe for political violence. How close is the U.S. to civil war? And as we bring out that point at the bottom here, right? Bear with me 1 second. Here we go. So at the bottom here, where is it at? Bear with me 1 second. Here we go. Again, if a second civil war breaks out in the U.S., it would be with guerrilla war fought by multiple small militias spread around the country. Their targets will be civilians, mainly minority groups, opposition leaders, and federal employees. Judges will be assassinated. Democrats and moderate Republicans will be jailed on bogus charges. Black churches and synagogues bombed. Pedestrians picked off by snipers in city streets. And federal agents threatened with death should they enforce federal law. The goal will be to reduce the strength of the federal government and those who support it, while also intimidating minority groups and political opponents into submission. All right, looks like these things are happening. Okay. Right, so I do want to jump to this point here. All right, which pretty much inspired the lesson. Okay, but violence is everywhere. Okay, so back in this article here from telegraph.co.uk, world most violent it has been in decades. At least 50 different countries have been hit by armed conflict this past year, researchers find. It says violence is more widespread today than it has been in decades, with armed conflict touching every major region, according to data analyzed by the Telegraph. As we read in Ezekiel, the 7th chapter, that violence is risen, all right, into a rod of wickedness. All right. And Esau, who's the ruler of this world, is responsible for that violence. All right. Let me get that too. All right. This is Psalms 58:2. It says, yea, in heart ye work wickedness, ye weigh violence, ye weigh the violence of your hands in the earth. You see that? The earth was given unto the hands of the wicked. All right. So this devil, all right, the Edomite is responsible for this current condition of the planet. This is why violence has reached more than 50 countries. Okay. Revelation 6:4, and there went out another horse that was red. All right. The red tying it back to Esau, Edom, and power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth, and that they should kill one another. And there was given unto him a great sword. All right. This man is the man of violence. Okay, Habakkuk 2nd chapter. All right, let me get that too. Okay, everywhere he causes, death and destruction. All right, but everything that we're reading and hearing about is all prophetic, is the point. All right, Habakkuk 2:5, yea, also because he transgressed by wine, which goes back, those wines that go back to his wicked philosophies. All right, his anti-Messiah ways that he's pushed throughout the world. Okay. It says he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home. He's everywhere, causing calamity, who enlarges his desire as hell and as his death, and cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations and heapeth unto him all people. This is that man. All right, this is the man that shaketh kingdoms. Matter of fact, let me get that. Just thinking out loud. Isaiah 14. Is this the man? Isaiah 14 and verse 16, right? Verse 15, yet thou shalt be brought down to hell, to the sides of the pit. They that see thee shall narrowly look upon thee and consider thee, saying, is this the man that made the earth to tremble, that did shake kingdoms, that made the world as a wilderness and destroyed the cities thereof, that opened not the house of his prisoners? Yeah, that's Esau. Okay, this is why the world has become more violent than it's ever been in decades, man. All right, see how the scriptures speak. It says last year, varying levels of conflict were reported across at least 50 different countries, from more violent than it's ever been in decades, man. All right, see how the scriptures speak. It says last year, varying levels of conflict were reported across at least 50 different countries, from the civil war in Myanmar to extreme violence between drug cartels in Mexico, according to the Armed Conflict Location and Event Data, ACLED. Experts predict that the trend will probably continue throughout 2025 and beyond. Okay, America, the world is going to go out through violence. Okay. across the 50 countries that were at least 56 active conflicts, one of the largest quantities since 1946, with fewer conflicts being resolved neither militarily or through peace agreements. It's not going to happen. We've been telling you this. No peace is coming. The Lord is angry with the wicked every day. The Global Peace Index estimated, quote, the level of violence happening is certainly at one of its heights since the Second World War, because we're about to enter into World War III, said Cleonda Raleigh, the founder and director of ACLED. The only year to exceed 56 was 2023, which recorded 59 armed conflicts according to certain estimates. All right, armed conflict everywhere. Armed conflicts are increasing everywhere. Exactly, and they got the stats pulled up as you can see. A little more here. It says more organized violence is happening in more places, leading us to consider that we are now in a more violent time, said Mrs. Raleigh. Experts estimate that at least one in every six people is exposed to some level of conflict. See? And the rest, reads on. Death on the rise. All right, and you can read the rest of that. Complexities of conflicts. All right, all these things that are happening around the planet. So on and so forth, right? It's all prophecy. No peace, right? Is that not the spirit of YAHAWASHI? All right. Think not that I come to send peace on earth. I came not to send peace, but a sword. Look what's playing out. Look what the Spirit of the Lord is doing. Man, you see, and you can read the rest, right? But that's the point there. Right. Let's grab this scripture too. Man, prophecy speaks. This is the book of 2 Ezra, chapter 16, verse 17. And it reads, it says, woe is me, who will deliver me in those days? The beginning of sorrows and great mournings, the beginning of famine and great death, the beginning of wars, and the power shall stand in fear. The beginning of evils, what shall I do when these evils shall come? All right, so that's the state of the world, man. All right, evils, violence, uproars, division is everywhere, man. Okay, and like the scripture said in Revelation 18, Babylon is going to go out with great violence. All right, Revelation 18, in verse 21, it says, and a mighty angel took up a stone like a great millstone, all right, the great millstone going into the ICBMs, and cast it into the sea, saying, thus with violence shall the great city Babylon be thrown down and shall be found no more at all. All right, so as the Lord is going to cause this place to go out by nuclear war, he's also going to use violence to overthrow this society. All right, that's part of it too. You see that? So through and through, all right, Babylon is over, right? And I want to add this too real quick. All right, let's play this. All right, because the fight was already lost, before it started.
Israel, real news real quick. Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. released his Make America Healthy Again report, which concludes 3 of 4 young Americans are too sick to serve in the military due to surging rates of obesity, diabetes, and neurological disorders, largely from poor childhood diets. President Donald Trump celebrated the passage of his big, beautiful bill in the U.S. House, which includes tax cuts, border security measures, and funding for the Golden Dome missile defense system. The man who killed 2 Israeli embassy staff members in Washington, D.C. told police, quote, I did it for Palestine, I did it for Gaza, unquote. And Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem blocked Harvard from enrolling international students, quote, for fostering violence, anti-Semitism, and coordinating with communists on the campus. And that's the way the world is. See you next time.
You see, so Babylon is cooked. Okay? MAHA report exposes national security crisis. 75% of young Americans too unhealthy to serve in the military. All right? The fight was already over before it started. Okay? Blow it up a little bit. All right. Okay, it says MAHA report reveals 75% of young Americans aged 17 to 24 are too unhealthy for military service due to obesity, diabetes, and neurological disorders. Finished. Chronic diseases like autism, ADHD, and childhood cancer have surged, with obesity up 270% since the 1970s, and type 2 diabetes rising 600% since the 1980s. What the hell are these? What the hell are we eating? What are they feeding us? What are they feeding the people, man? Okay? Ultra processed foods loaded with harmful additives make up 70% of the US diet. Man, this is how you know, hey, there's no way that we're going to be able to be here for another 40, 50 years, man. The Lord has to come, or no flesh will be saved. Far exceeding European levels, while toxins like pesticides and fluoride worsen health risk. Over-medication is rampant. 1 in 5 U.S. kids take prescription drugs, with ADHD meds doubling the antidepressants up to 1,400% since the 1980s. The report demands urgent policy reforms targeting food systems, toxins, and medical practices, warning that America's health crisis threatens national security. It's over, man. All right, let me get this real quick. All right. This is why everything is leading to the technology, the drones, robots. All right, they don't got no soldiers to fight. Jeremiah 51:30, it says, "The mighty men of Babylon have forborne to fight. They have remained in their holes. Their might have failed." See, their might have failed. They became as women, weak. They have burned her dwelling places. Her bars are broken. So hey, this is a national crisis, man. Okay, majority of the people in the military are too, the young Americans are too unhealthy to serve in the military, man. All right, where's the defense? You see, look how the Lord is smiting this place, man. Nahum 3:18. Okay, Nahum 3 and not 3:18. Nahum 3:13. Nahum 3:13, it says, "Behold, the people in the midst of thee are women. The gates of thy land shall be set wide open unto thy enemies." All right, there's no protection. "The fire shall devour thy bars." You see that? So this place, again, is open to be taken. Right? It's a wrap for Babylon, man. Violence is the key element on how this place is going to go out. Shalom.